The sinking of the Titanic is one of the most well-known disasters in history, capturing the world's attention when the luxurious ocean liner sank on April 15, 1912. The Titanic was the largest ship afloat at the time and was considered unsinkable. However, tragedy struck when the ship collided with an iceberg on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York City, resulting in the loss of over 1,500 lives. History and construction. The Titanic was built by the White Star Line, a British shipping company, and was designed to be the most luxurious ship of its time. It was built in Belfast, Ireland, and was launched on May 31, 1911. The ship was 882 feet long, 92 feet wide, and weighed over 46,000 tons. It had 9 decks, 20 lifeboats, and could accommodate up to 223 passengers and crew. The Titanic was equipped with the latest technology, including wireless telegraphy and electric elevators, and was considered to be the pinnacle of modern engineering. It was built with a double-bottomed hull and 16 watertight compartments, which were designed to prevent the ship from sinking in the event of a collision. Maiden voyage. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic departed from Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage to New York City, with stops in Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, Ireland. The ship was carrying a total of 23 people, including passengers and crew. The voyage was smooth sailing for the first few days, with passengers enjoying the luxurious amenities on board. However, on the night of April 14, 1912, disaster struck when the Titanic collided with an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. ship's time. Sinking of the Titanic. The impact of the collision caused the Titanic's hull to be punctured in several places, and water began flooding into the ship. Despite efforts to seal the watertight compartments, the ship began to sink rapidly. The crew quickly began evacuating passengers to the lifeboats, but there were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. As the ship began to sink, chaos ensued on board, with passengers and crew scrambling to find a way to safety. The first lifeboat was launched with only 28 people on board, despite the capacity to hold 65 people. Many of the lifeboats were launched only partially filled, and some were even lowered into the water without anyone on board. The Titanic sank at 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, just 2.5 hours after the collision with the iceberg. Only 705 people survived, and over 1,500 people lost their lives, including passengers and crew. Investigation and aftermath. The sinking of the Titanic shocked the world and prompted an investigation into the disaster. The British Board of Trade conducted an inquiry into the sinking, which found that the ship's design and construction were not to blame for the disaster. Instead, the inquiry concluded that the lack of lifeboats and the inadequate training of the crew were the primary factors that contributed to the loss of life. The disaster also led to significant changes in maritime safety regulations. The International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea was held in 1914, which established new safety standards for ships, including requirements for lifeboats and safety drills. The sinking of the Titanic has been the subject of numerous books, films, and documentaries. The shipwreck was discovered in 1985 by a team of American and French researchers, and several expeditions have been conducted to explore the wreckage. Conclusion. The sinking of the Titanic remains one of the most tragic and memorable events in history. The disaster has had a lasting impact on maritime safety.